This week, we are going to be talking about the week of December 5th through the 11th. It's going to be the full moon in Gemini, Mercury, and Venus in Capricorn. So the full moon in Gemini is aligning with Mars. That's going to be breaking whatever hidden thoughts were festering from Scorpio season out into the open. This week, we are clearing out whatever's holding you back in order to create a solid foundation for Mercury and Venus to build upon in Capricorn that will help you accomplish all that you desire from your relationships. The question is, can you be honest with yourself? And will you be compassionate once you discover the truth? Stay tuned.
The weekly transit.
Astrology is a language that communicates how the planets and stars influence life on Earth. I'm Scott Tajarian. I'm an interpreter of this language. Join me and my co-host Ingrid Iverson, who helps bring an even more practical look at this astral language. The weekly transit is here to bring clarity to the chaos, so you can ride the planetary waves instead of the planets riding you.
The weekly transit.
Good morning, Scott.
Hi, Ingrid.
I mean, I guess afternoon, but I feel like it's just, for me, it's
It's
continuously
always
morning.
for Ingrid. It's always morning for Ingrid.
I was somewhere, I went to physical therapy and it was at like 2 in the afternoon.
And you said good morning.
I mean, I guess it's almost 2 right now. Yeah, I'm like, good morning. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, it's morning for like a long time after we wake up.
Yeah. Ingrid's still in mourning for the night.
I am.
Yes.
I'm supposed to go audition somewhere else this week.
Audition?
Mm-hmm.
Like on the stage?
Yeah, at another club,
Okay.
which is, I mean, meaning to do it forever. I just haven't been motivated or had a good reason. It was really slow, and then now I seem to have kind of shifted my energy, and I'm making money, so I don't know. That it makes it hard to leave. But one of the girls that used to work at the club, or she still works there. We were just chatting on Instagram, and she was like, "You should come work at this other club." Like,
So she works at 2 clubs.
yeah, a lot of the girls work at 2 clubs.
Okay.
So it's nice to just have a backup or to switch things up, or I don't know. It's just nice to, if you're feeling like it's dry one place, you can go somewhere else and feel like you have a little bit more freedom as opposed to just like being stuck there when you're like, oh my God, I'm just shriveling up over here.
What does she like about the other club?
The staff, especially. She said it's busier there.
Oh.
And you make a bigger cup, but she said she feels like more supported and appreciated.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
More money, more support.
Yeah, and it's like the same distance from my house, so I'm like, why not? I just need to go try it out. Like, maybe it's not the club for me, but also it's nice to just like, I guess part of me is just, I always like stay too long. I just get very comfortable. I like my little routine. And I do well in new situations, so I don't know what the big deal is about just trying somewhere else. Like, I have no idea.
So when's this happening?
I think tomorrow.
Okay.
It was supposed to be yesterday, but then I had this potential like production job coming up, and I'm always going to take that over the club, and you can audition anytime. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go try that tomorrow.
Okay. I'm excited to hear your impressions.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Just go exploring. And then I guess also like at the same time there was some like production potential stuff happening, which I think everything is going to end up falling through. But I'm trying to just maybe make some stuff happen as opposed to like waiting for jobs to like appear, which is always just seems to get luckier. Something comes my way, but yeah, I don't know. I would like to be more intentional about the jobs I take so I can like get paid what I'm worth, so I'm not just running around like a crazy person for like not really enough money.
Yeah.
Like, it still pays well, but I want everything to feel peaceful and healthy and good. And then this is just on a totally different subject, but in terms of like peaceful and healthy and good, I felt like I had like this out of body experience with like the guy that I'm, seeing. We'll just say that. And then thinking about my ex, and I was just like, I am very attracted to these people. And I don't know if that's necessarily like the partner that I envision for myself. I'm like, oh, I want to have all these things in line. That would be the ideal partner. But for some reason, I'm like very attracted to just like intelligence, passion and creativity
Mm-hmm.
above all else.
Mm-hmm.
And even though logically I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if this person's going to provide these other things, it just doesn't seem to matter to my like logical brain. Anyways, I was just having this strange out of body experience being like, oh, I'm still like just so attracted, like physically and emotionally and like spiritually to like this person that I don't know if it's really going to work out in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment feels like very fulfilling. So I don't know. It was just a very strange experience where I felt like disconnected from my like attachment to things being like a certain way. I'm like, oh, I guess this is just like how I've been. Even like in my really horrible relationships in the past, they've been like very like not like passionate in between us. I mean, also that, but like they're having a passion for something in particular or like a specific intelligence and passion for a certain subject. Like that's very attractive to me.
So you're saying you felt like peace in the moment
Mm-hmm.
of this relationship that you're not sure where it's going to go or what's going to happen with it, but you felt peaceful in just where it is right now.
Yeah, I felt like it was like a weird, almost like a learning experience about myself where I was like, oh, this is like your pattern. And like just accepting that in the moment and knowing that I have to decide. Like I'm the one that decides these things. They're not happening to me. I'm deciding to stay in these situations
Mm-hmm.
that may or may not be serving me. So like when I'm upset, it's like I'm upset that the person is who they've always been. And I will like have a fantasy in my mind of how I want things to be. It's like the attachment to an outcome that we have no control over. And we certainly don't have control over somebody else and how they live their life.
Well, there's the fantasy of what you want, and then the fantasy that begins when you meet the person,
Mm-hmm.
and you have this ideal of who you think this person is, but then after 6 months, a year, 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
that's who this person is. There is no more fantasy of like who they could be.
Yeah, totally.
And if you're
Yeah,
still holding on to like, well, if they just do all these different things, then everything will be perfect.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, no, this is just who they are, and either you love them for
Yeah.
who they are or you don't. I mean, people, they can change over time.
But just
But
being
it's-
able to accept them for who they are, I think the idea of acceptance is
Yeah.
we can get upset over something, but it's like, well, really I should just be upset with myself because this I'm seeing it for what it is, and my hope and imagination of what could be is not what exists.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I felt like there was a certain level of freedom in that moment of being like, oh, okay. I don't know. I feel like when Aquarius is somewhere connecting to something in my chart, I feel like less emotional, which is always a gift. So
Mm-hmm.
I think on that day, maybe there was some alignment where I could just see it very logically,
Mm-hmm.
and it made it more just easier to process. I'm like, I feel like these like clarity moments that come through for me are usually like some Aquarius alignment with maybe my moon, where it's just like, okay, you're not
When
so
did you
attached.
have this like sort of thought? When did that happen?
It would be yesterday evening.
Yesterday evening. Let me see here. Where was...
I just thought this might tie into the Sagittarius energy of, I don't know, I felt like there was like this freedom in it of like the acceptance and me feeling just like lighter.
Yeah. I want to see where things are aligning in your chart. So, yeah. Yeah, feeling lighter.
For the moment.
Yeah.
For the moment.
Yeah.
Until the next
Yeah.
wave of
I
panic.
think the moon might have been actually connecting to, it might have been aligning in a trine with your Uranus, the planet of independence,
Ooh, okay.
in Sagittarius, the sign of freedom. So
Love
that
that.
was literally happening for you. I'll tell you exactly what time that was. That was happening at like right around, I'd say it began, you started feeling it around 3, 4 in the afternoon yesterday. And then it continued on through the night and into the evening.
That sounds about
Or
right.
Evening and night, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like a revolution or rebellion against myself of my usual thought process.
Mhm.
It was kind of like switched.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I need to write this down. This is some good insight I'm having here about myself.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was like you had this genius insight about, and your Uranus is in the 7th house, which is the house of relationships. So, you had that emotional connection to what was in your heart in relation to your independence, relationships, and freedom.
Yeah, feeling a little bit more free. I can't stop moving the mic. I just can't stop doing it. I'm not sure what is happening.
Just keep moving the mic.
Until it just falls off.
Yeah, just, every time you talk, just hold on to the mic and move it a little bit.
Perfect.
It's good. Yeah, exactly.
So
I was going to tell you, I don't know if we keep this on the podcast or you take it off, but I think I know someone who could be a potential match for you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I told myself I'm not on the dating app. It's just too much pressure and I'm not ready for it, and I still feel very attached to this guy. It just doesn't really seem fair.
Mm-hmm.
But if I met somebody organically that was interesting,
You already
that would be
know this
open.
person.
They work at Nick and Stuff's.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't remember anyone. Are they a bartender or a server?
Server.
A server?
Yeah.
Are they an alcoholic?
No. He's
What's
not an
what's his name?
alcoholic.
I don't know. We'll bleep their name out. Oh yeah. He's a little bit femme for me, although we have
Is
a
he?
very nice connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've went out a couple of times.
Oh, you
and
did?
And it kind of felt date-ish. It was a long time ago,
Huh. Yeah.
but it felt like date-ish. But I was like in a relationship, but he was just like very. I think he has like a very easy energy for females to be
I
around.
looked at your charts together. You have like good aspects
Okay.
with different things. So, I was in there the other day and he said something. He's like, how's Ingrid? How's
Aw.
the podcast doing? All that. And so, he was asking about that. Very nice, very supportive. He's like, that's awesome what you
Yeah.
guys are doing. He's like, I still need to go visit her work. I was like, oh, yeah? And he's like, yeah, she told me you should come by work sometime. And I was like, oh, all right, and
Although, I mean, I'm not taking anything off the table, but I'm like, even when I was like on that app, people were like, oh, I'll come see you at work. And sorry, I put this retainer in and now I can't like pronunciate. I'm supposed to
sounds fine.
I keep like, it's like getting caught in my words are getting caught.
Oh.
I'm supposed to wear it at night, but I always fucking forget. So then I just wear it in the day. Oh fuck, what were we talking about?
People coming to visit you at work.
I'm like, I'm not opposed to making it a connection at work. I just feel like it's probably not the place that I want to be making a
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
But any guy that wanted to come see me at work, I'm like, that's just going to be a no.
Yeah,
Maybe after we were
exactly.
already in a relationship, sure, you can come see me at work
Yeah,
if you
well,
wanted
that's
to.
different. Yeah.
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 So,
So-
anyways, that's my.
Just the way that he said it, I was like, oh, so he's interested in Ingrid. And then I just looked at your charts together and I was like,
We do have a nice chemistry. Like, we had a really
Yeah.
nice connection when we worked together for sure.
yeah. Yeah. So
And
I-
he's into like art and fashion.
he's a very
And
artistic
food.
person.
Mhm.
Yeah. And yeah, he's a well-rounded individual.
Okay, I'll keep that
Yeah.
on my radar. I'll
Keep
keep
it
that
on your radar. Yeah. I told him we were going to come into the restaurant to celebrate our 3-year
Yay.
anniversary. And he's like, oh, I'll definitely be here for
Yay.
that. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it'll be nice together. I'm excited.
yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, that's where me and Scott met, was working at the restaurant. And Scott would be like doing everyone's fucking birth charts and like predicting the dynamic of like the friendships and the conflicts. And it was just really fun. And that's how we started like talking about astrology together.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Somebody had asked actually a question this week or last week and said, how did you guys meet?
Oh, yeah.
And it was, the
We met
restaurant
at
dynamic.
Nick and Steph's Steakhouse in downtown Los Angeles.
If you have not been, I don't really care about steakhouses,
Yeah.
but this place is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
It's
awesome.
like mid-century modern inside. It's just really beautiful. There's like a glass window to the dry aging room. They dry age their steaks in house, and It's all very simple menu items, but even just the side dishes, the fucking potatoes.
Oh, they're amazing.
Oh my God.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
The food is so good there. It's the best steak in LA. It's, they dry age all their steaks in-house. So, like, no other steakhouse does that, I don't think.
I don't think so.
And so they're amazing. And it's a really great place, and that's where Ingrid and I met.
So
hanging
yeah,
out,
so we're
waiting
gonna
for drinks
so
at the bar.
So for the podcast 3-year anniversary, which will be in April.
Yeah.
We're gonna go have a fancy meal.
Yes, exactly. Celebrate.
Before we get into the week, would you like to thank our sponsors?
Of course, yes. I want to thank the sponsors: Larry, Deborah, Haley, Libby, Janelle, Clarissa, Janine, Ricky, Amaranth, Vincent, Michelle, Catherine, Merdinas, Aline, Robin, Brenna, Stephanie, Cassie, Grace, Lori, Carrie, Brooke, Johnny, and Amber.
Thank you, everybody, for donating to the podcast. We really appreciate it. Anything you send our way goes towards, getting a snack, getting a computer, getting, new headphones, all the goodies.
Yes.
Buying a coffee, whatever.
Get Ingrid her snacks.
Yeah, my snacks.
Yes.
But if you're interested in supporting the podcast, if you go to the show notes, there is a support link. You can donate $1, $5, or $10 a month. And if we are helping you navigate the planets and stars more gracefully, we would love it if you would donate to the podcast. Or if financially that's not working for you, if you want to share the podcast with your friends, rate us 5 stars on any of the platforms, share us on social media.
Write a review.
Yeah, any
all
of those
that stuff
things.
helps.
Yeah, it really
Absolutely.
does.
Yes. So thank you for all of your support.
And also, just a little bit else about the show notes. There are time markers, so you can go to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It goes right to the time marker, so you can go, listen in advance to the day or go back in the past and listen very easily. And it's also meant to pair with the blog, which is on the website. It has all of kind of highlights of what we talk about here, a summary, and then all the questions that Scott asks on each day of the week, so you can go back and revisit them, along with the images that you see here. So if you're seeing us here, you're on YouTube or Spotify, you can see our beautiful faces. There's a video to go along with it, but it's meant to go all 3. So blog, podcast, and then also the book. The stocking
stuffer of holidays 2022.
Yeah, so if you want a nice gift for somebody that you love who's into astrology, or for yourself, if you want to get yourself a little treat, The Basics of Astrology. If you go to Amazon for the Kindle, it is a $10 download, or you can order a copy. It's $30. It's almost like an art book, glossary book. It's got all of the colors relate to the elements. It's kind of to learn the signs and the symbols. It's not a novel. It is kind of like a Cliff Notes version. So if you see the alignments, you can kind of translate it yourself.
Yeah.
And just helping Scott put it together, I learned my level of astrology went to the next level. I really didn't grasp it until we started working on the book together. And so if you want to go to from a beginner to an intermediate, or from a nothing to a beginner even, the book is amazing.
Yeah, it's meant to be. If you're someone who's a visual learner, then that's what it's all about. I'm a visual learner, so I learned astrology by drawing out the symbols in different colors to help me learn the elements of the signs.
And Scott, since he met me, he's like, you have to learn the signs and the symbols. And I'm like, I can't. It's too confused. Just too squiggly. And then just in going over the book a couple times, I was like, oh, I kind of got it.
Yeah.
Shit.
Totally.
And now I can I could basically.
Now you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that we're looking at here.
Exactly.
Makes it so much easier.
Yes. And if you want any gift certificates for the holidays, gifts for a reading, that's on the website, theweeklytransit.com. If you want to book a reading with me, if you want to learn how these transits are affecting you directly, or if you've never had a reading before and you're curious about your own astrological code and what everything means, contact me for a reading. You can schedule it directly through theweeklytransit.com.
I mean, if you're wondering how a reading goes, I feel like you get little snippets of it on the podcast, just in when I said like, oh my God, yesterday I had this moment of clarity, and he looks it up and kind of gives me some insight as to what I might be experiencing.
Yes.
It's like you can't predict the future or the past, but kind of like unlocking the information, like what there is to learn about the situation. So you really get everything, like you really understand the lessons that life is giving to you instead of just like running them over and being like, why did these things happen? Or like, there was a message and I like missed the whole thing. Oh my God.
What?
I had some crazy fucking dreams last night.
Oh,
We'll
no.
We'll wait till the end because it's just,
Well, what?
okay, there was a lot of cats happening. There was a cat here, and then, but it was like a weird rat cat, and like all of its hair had fallen out because I didn't brush it. So that was very alarming to me. A friend was here, and I was like, I think it has fleas, and they said it doesn't have fleas. Anyways, then there was a group of friends. We were somewhere like in the hills of maybe Hollywood, and then there's another group of people. They had crossbows, but we also had crossbows. Then we were like, there was some sort of weird adventures or like murder thing about to happen.
Crossbow, that's like very Sagittarius.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
And it was very like adventurous. And then somehow we were trying to escape through this car wash. We took apart part of the car to go through the car wash. Then I was inside of this building that was like a blood bank. There was just, I can't explain it exactly. There was just blood everywhere. There were like these machines or these, you know, when you're painting the lines on the street and stuff, like for parking lots, these little like wheelie things, except for it was like
blood.
Well, it was like eggs and blood. There was just so much blood. And then there was like a motorcycle accident somehow while I was waiting here at this blood center. And I wasn't very affected, but the person next to me was like, you're covered in blood. A person had crashed on their motorcycle. Their head exploded, and then their head was missing, and I was covered in their blood. And then I had to go back in the blood center. I don't know. This blood center was just... There were just all these little packages, like all over the floor of like blood. And then there was like these wheelie carts with blood everywhere. It was very weird. I don't know what any of that means.
You don't?
The blood. Scott likes to grill me and find out my own insights about the dreams. I feel like the cat thing was like not taking care of things in a timely manner and then being in a panic, like it's too late for something. But the blood thing was really weird. I guess maybe just being unaffected by like very traumatic things that maybe I should like not be in that situation or something. Maybe to do with like my past of just not seeing maybe like red flags or something.
Yeah.
It was fucking weird. What does blood represent?
Yeah, I was just trying to think of that. I should have brought my Louise Hay book to see what... Oh, you know what? Well, shoot. Actually, I don't know what I can't remember what it represents, but I just sent a message to one of my Cosmic Pathway clients about blood, but I didn't say what it meant, but I just know that the affirmation that you're supposed to say with regards to blood is, I am the joy of life expressing and receiving.
Oh, fuck.
I'm the joy of life expressing and receiving. So blood is like it's like the movement of life. It's the taking in and taking out and cleansing. It's how you move through life, blood. It's the living, moving energy of life.
It was like a factory, so maybe it was like I was like witnessing everyone else's joy and maybe like not making my own or something. Like I need to be doing more to like create my own joy.
You said it. And that makes so much sense, because when you think about your North Node in Aries, it's supposed to be, what do you want to do?
And I get very caught up in other people's energy. Like
Exactly.
I was just talking about the relationships. I can get very addicted to that, wrapped up in that the bubble of that, as opposed to, you know, when I have more space, I will fill it with stuff. But when I get like wrapped up in someone else's energy, I can just focus on that as opposed to like all the projects and things I want to complete.
Exactly. You're distracting yourself from what you're actually supposed to be working on or what you actually want to do.
Fuck.
Yeah. And dreams are so powerful right now because of Jupiter in Pisces, along with Neptune in Pisces, obviously. Jupiter is going to be in Pisces just for another 2 weeks.
And is it starting on Monday right now, or?
Well, I mean, it's just coincidental that when we're looking at Monday, I mean, this is the week of Monday, December 5th through December 11th. Monday, December 5th, we're looking at Jupiter, the god of thunder, lord of justice, the planet of luck and expansion.
So expanding
in
our
Pisces, the sign, the mutable water sign symbolized by the fish, which Jupiter rules, and it represents dreams. It represents the unconscious. So everyone's unconscious is more expanded at this time. Dreams are very powerful, very potent.
You know, I never used to analyze my dreams, and I have a lot of dreams, and it weirdly, you don't even say that much. You just basically ask me what I just said, like, what do you think it means? And then I'll be like, oh, fuck. Like,
you know what it means.
Yeah, and then every time I'm shocked at the insight I can have about myself just by reflecting upon it.
Exactly.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, I can't really tell you what your dreams mean, because what it means to me is different than what it means to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's by me listening and asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Hopefully that draws you to the wisdom within yourself.
I feel like when this first started, I had no clue, and you just asked me a couple of questions, and I was like, oh my God, I do know. And so now I feel like you'll just be like, okay, so what does it mean? And I'll be like, okay, I guess I just didn't sit with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just sitting with it and asking myself what type of weird reflection, what is that reflecting within myself?
Yeah, exactly.
But if you have some weird fucking dreams, call Scott, because he knows how to get in there. I'm turning into a pro at analyzing my dreams now.
Yeah, and that would be something more, I think, for the clients that I work with on a weekly basis. When we've had that sort of rapport, and we understand each other and I understand their charts, they understand their charts through what I've shared with them. That's when you're able to really get into those deeper parts of yourself and really understand why you are operating in the way that you're operating through life. And so having those dreams gives you an opportunity for insight into yourself.
And then I think I kind of interrupted. I don't even think we got the alignment.
No, well, I mean, that's okay, because it's so funny. It's like it just all makes sense and flows together with what we're talking about, because in addition to Jupiter and Pisces, it's aligning with Mercury, the messenger of the gods, guide of souls to the underworld, the planet of consciousness, communication, and coordination, in Sagittarius, the mutable fire sign symbolized by the archer and also ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter's in Pisces, expanding our unconscious, aligning with Mercury, which is bringing honest, conscious awareness, because Sagittarius is the sign of honesty. And so it's connecting, it's expanding our unconscious mind, expanding our conscious mind. It's really pushing us to take an honest look at who we are, what is going on in your mind.
I mean, just kind of like what I was saying about that moment of reflection I had for myself. It was like taking a conscious look at my unconscious.
Yes.
And although that felt good in the moment, like here it's a square, because, I mean, it's not always comfortable to be able to see into those dark corners. You see what's in there and you're like, fuck, that's weird. Why the fuck would I do that?
Yes.
I mean, I had an ease about it when it was happening to me, but it was really weird sensation to be like, oh, I can see in there, and that's why I do that. Strange. It just is strange.
Yes.
Just being able to see why we do what we do is fascinating, because, I mean, we run mostly on our unconscious, so unless we take the opportunity to look in there when there is like some clarity right now and some understanding. It's really hard to get in there.
Well, and the squaring could mean that it's hard to look. Like we may want to avoid seeing what we're seeing here because
I mean, just
taking an honest look within ourselves might be uncomfortable.
well, even just the bloodbath example, it's like, yeah, I'm just ignoring my, my own joy and maybe sourcing it from other people and not nurturing myself enough. Like, that's lame. Why the fuck would I do that? That's not fun to admit.
Right.
That's sad and kind of depressing. I'm like, why would I do that to myself? But if you take the moment to look at it, it can be like a motivating factor to like do something about it. Like, oh fuck, that's what I'm doing?
Yes.
I didn't even notice until I like talked about this dream or sat with this like, uncomfortable moment to figure out like why.
Yeah. So hopefully some clarity on Monday. Ask yourself the question, like, what am I supposed to learn? Like, before you go to sleep on Sunday night,
I like this.
ask yourself, show me what I need to know. And then when you close your eyes and you go to sleep and you wake up the next morning, hopefully you've had some crazy dream. But when you take some time to really look at what was going on there and reflect it within your life, you get the clarity and the answer that you're searching for. So Tuesday, December 6th is when Mercury moves on into the cardinal earth signs symbolized by the goat, Capricorn. Mercury begins its transit through Capricorn, which will last until February 11th. This is a long period with Mercury in Capricorn. Mercury typically spends about 3 weeks in any particular sign, but it's going to spend over 2 months.
It's a retrograde?
Because of retrograde. Yes, well, see, Ingrid, you're learning all this stuff. It's amazing. Yeah, so,
well, I mean, I'm looking at this and I think yesterday maybe you have this insight into yourself, and now today is kind of the conscious mind planning. The Capricorn energy is like planning how to, get out of that mindset, whatever the thing was that you discovered. You're like, okay, now I'm going to plan on how to do things in a better way or a different way.
Well, and I think that it's even more than planning. It's about actually taking the steps mentally to get to where you want to go. It's like the Sagittarius energy is about looking at the future, having faith to believe that whatever it is you want for the future can come into fruition. But then the Capricorn energy is like, okay, we know what you want. But you actually have to build it. Yeah. You have to do it. You have to take those steps. So we've got an extended period of time here
to work on it.
Over 2 months to work on it, to really work on your mental process, creating that mental fortitude that's going to put you in that winning mindset to accomplish and achieve your goals. What are the steps that I need to take? I know where I want to go. I have faith that I can get there, but I need to really hammer out the steps and then take the steps to climb to where I'm going. So the retrograde is going to be from December 29th to January 18th. The retrograde shadow is December 12th to February 6th. So this could be crunchy. Could be intense. I mean, you got Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde. This is why I hope that everyone listening right now is very clear about, in this moment, about what they're wanting to accomplish and achieve. Like, where do you want to be? I've been saying this back since Mars retrograde shadow all began. Where do you want to be by mid-March, when Mars moves out of its retrograde shadow? Where do you want to be by mid-January, when Mars retrograde ends and Mercury retrograde ends? Where do you want to be? You don't want to be trying to figure it out on January 1st.
No, you got to start putting in the work now so you can be on the...
Yeah, it's... You want to hit the ground running right now.
I mean, it's also like the retrograde is like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You have that little stutter step, but so just kind of preparing yourself. Like, it's not always going to just be straight uphill. You're going to have some moments, and that's normal and natural. Like, everyone is so scared of the retrograde. It's like, no, you can just run full speed ahead. It's a practice. So be patient.
Yeah, exactly. So, for those that were born with key astrological points in Aries or Libra, there could be challenges for you during this period because Mercury is going to square whatever key astrological points are in those signs. And so there could be mental challenges for you. Now, to give you some insight on what that means for you, think back to what was going on in your life between December 13th of last year and January 1st of this year, 2022. That was the last time Mercury moved all the way through Capricorn. But on January 25th of this year, Mercury retrograded back into Capricorn to 24 degrees and then moved forward out of Capricorn on February 14th. So think back to those dates. What was going on with you? That could give you clues on what could be in store this time around. It's really interesting to me, though, that this year Mercury retrograde begins at 24 degrees in Capricorn. Last year, Mercury retrograde ended at 24 degrees in Capricorn. So
it's picking up where it left off.
In a sense, it's like covering areas that it didn't fully cover as much last time.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into the minutia. I know you don't like that, but but this is why I encourage you to like really understand your astrological code and know like what is in Aries or Libra in my astrological code. What do I have in water or earth signs? Those are the signs that are going to make the strongest connection to this Capricorn energy. So if Venus is one of those planets, then there could be issues coming up with communication and relationships. If it's the moon, then it's your emotions or your home. So it's the puzzle. It's how you all put it together. But we've got a long trip ahead with Mercury in Capricorn. Moving on to Wednesday, December 7th. So we'll be talking about that much more. The full moon in Gemini.
Yay.
Yay. Are you excited for this?
I mean, it's fun to set intentions, but it's also nice to have like a release.
Yeah.
I feel like the full moon is the release, or like kind of the reward of if you've been doing the work, you get to kind of bask in it.
Yeah. So it's so fascinating to me. I just had this realization. It just kind of clicked in me I had a moon class today, and I was like, wow, I was looking at this, and we're looking at the full moon in Gemini. So the sun is in the mutable fire sign, Sagittarius. The moon is in the mutable air sign, symbolized by the twins, Gemini, which is opposite Sagittarius. But the moon is also conjunct, meaning at the same degree, in the same sign, Gemini, as Mars.
Okay.
So the moon and Mars together. We go back to the first new moon, not the first new moon, but the new moon in Scorpio, back on October 25th. That occurred with the sun and the moon in Scorpio conjunct with Venus, the goddess of love. Now we've had one full moon, another new moon, and now this full moon. And this full moon is conjunct with Mars, the god of war. So from the goddess of love to the god of war. The goddess of love, that's setting intentions during the new moon in Scorpio, was about setting your intentions.
For your bonds.
Yes, but to establish what you value, what's
Okay.
important to you. What do you value? Your self-worth. And then how do you share what you value, exchange energy, share magic with those that you're bonded to? Are those individuals lifting you, or are they draining you? Do they honor, reflect, or respect your values? If not, then those relationships need to transform. Maybe they end, or maybe a frequency within those relationships
Mm-hmm.
transforms or ends
Yeah.
in order for it to continue. We had the full moon in Taurus, the lunar eclipse, and people started breaking up. There was meltdowns left and right,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe people got back together or whatever. But the new moon in Sagittarius was setting your intentions to be free.
Oh, I see.
To
where
be
we're
free.
going.
And if you are in a relationship where the bond is positive, where it's like the person that you're bonded to is honoring, reflecting, and respecting your values, then it's easier to feel free because you're on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
you're in the same energetic flow. But the new moon in Sagittarius was setting your intentions to live free in faith, with honesty, and through adventure. So you're free, you have faith that everything is working out with you and the other person. You can be honest with them, open, and life feels like an adventure. But if that's not the case, then it may feel like burning everything down. And so when you bring Mars into the mix,
That's hot.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
exactly. There could be conflicts here. So is there a relationship that you're in that you want to break free from? Is there a relationship that you're in where you feel free enough to be wild?
I like that.
Yeah, that's the fun side.
Yeah, that's the opposite.
Exactly. So this is a very expressive full moon. It's about being open, asking questions, embracing your curiosity, having the courage to be free and honest, and to listen to what those around you have to share, because there's so much to learn from this full moon. So much to learn from this full moon, and there's so much to share. So what would you like to share? Who would you like to share it with? What would you like to learn? But this is a release.
I mean, it could be either appreciating the freedom that you do have. What are you so grateful that you can express?
Mm-hmm.
Or looking at what you feel like is holding you back and like what you need to break free from. Those are like
Yes.
important. They're kind of one and the same.
Totally. What do you want to express? That's a release. And what do you want to break free from? Well, that's a release too. If you're feeling free in the relationship already, then it's easy to express. It feels good to express. If you're feeling trapped, then it might not feel as good initially to express what you have to express.
Yeah.
But once you have,
You're going to feel better.
Yes, exactly. You're going to feel better. Yes. Yes. So, very exciting, very powerful full moon conjunct Mars in Gemini.
I mean, that moves perfectly into Thursday.
It does? Let me see. What's Thursday? Oh, yes, it does.
So
Thursday, December 8th. What do you see, Ingrid?
I see the moon in Gemini in conjunction with...
In conjunction?
I don't know. Not in conjunction. That's
It's
on top
opposite.
of... Oh, opposition.
You see they're opposite each other on the circle. Yes.
The conjunction's right on top, so you don't see it.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're on top of each other with the conjunction.
So I have the moon in Gemini connecting with Venus in Sagittarius.
Yes, opposite. They're 180 degrees apart from each other.
So it would be like your emotions and having curiosity about your emotions and then connecting that with relationships and being honest. So it's like a conversation in these relationships, being curious and being open and honest about how we're feeling.
Yes.
So if yesterday there was an explosion, today you're going to be able to kind of like continue the conversation.
Absolutely.
Or if there was just an appreciation for like that wild energy that you are able to express, you're going to be able to kind of continue that today. You're like, oh, this is easy. We just have these conversations.
Yes. Yes. Free flow. That's what this is about. Thursday, December 8th. Let your hair down. Let it fly. Because on Friday, December 9th... That's such a great timed reaction. Venus, as it transits out of Sagittarius, is going to square off with Jupiter in Pisces, just as Mercury did on Monday. So maybe there's some expansion to the relationship. You have this like wild fantasy of what you think things are going to be like with you and your partner, and then you realize that, oh, maybe it's
uncomfortable.
The dream is not as, the reality is not as great as the dream.
Yeah.
The reality doesn't live up to the fantasy. And so then later in the day,
or
what?
Or like, what if either you or your partner express whatever the fantasy is, and the other person's like very not receptive. They're like, oh no, I would never do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I never want to. Yeah, I'm never going to Alaska camping. Absolutely not. And
is that your fantasy, Ingrid? Wow.
I don't know. I was just trying to think of something like adventurous. I mean, I feel like the first thing you think of is like maybe some sort of like sexual fantasy,
yeah,
but like realistically, that's probably not what we're talking about. Something more tangible, like a vacation, or like, I want to like have a farm together, and you're like, I don't want to fucking farm.
Well, I think camping in Alaska is like a very strong Sagittarius note. When I think of course, like you said, like you want to think of like the sexual fantasy. And when I think of Sagittarius, I always think of Burning Man.
Okay.
I think of like a bunch of people dancing naked around a fire. But I also think of that camping in Alaska thing because I think of the archer just like wandering through the forest, through the woods or the mountains or whatever, just exploring and connecting to God. Like it's quiet. We're listening to whatever the universe is sending to us, whatever messages are being sent. We can hear it in the stream, in the mountain, in the wind, in the trees, all of that.
Could that also mean like just another adventure or another like fantasy for a relationship, like starting a family or like moving to a new location? Those are very like tangible things that a lot of people talk about, that maybe there is a conflict of interest in the relationship.
Totally. So maybe somebody's expectations aren't being met by another that you're close to. That's kind of the bottom line.
Or like now you're living in reality, like, oh, this is what this person wants. Like, what if I can't fulfill that? Or vice versa. Well,
and reality hits as Venus moves from Sagittarius to Capricorn.
It's Earth energy. Now it exists.
Exactly.
We're working towards something.
Real. Totally. So this is putting what you value, your senses, and bringing it into reality. Like, okay, well, that's the fantasy. Well, what's the plan? What's the plan to bring that fantasy into reality? What steps do we have to take? So Venus is in Capricorn from December 9th to January 2nd.
So I have like this great example. My friend is getting married soon, and she is like, she didn't really care that much about having the wedding itself. He really wanted the wedding. And then now financially, there's like, okay, well, is he going to have, like, she's worried about like him having enough money, because he's just like, oh, I only need this much to live. And he's very comfortable with that. But now there's like, life stuff comes up, and it feels like he's the one who wanted to push for the wedding. And financially, that's becoming kind of a burden. And so there's like a little bit of a conflict happening where she's like, okay, well then you need to make more money then, because I don't want to worry about it. Like, I like feeling free. I feel completely good on my own. Like, I want, a partner that's going to show up like equal, where I don't have to worry. I want to, do the thing we planned for together.
Yeah, so you want a wedding. It's going to cost this much money. What's the plan to make that amount of money so that you can have your wedding?
Yeah. And she was scared about having maybe a possibly uncomfortable conversation, or a conversation she just didn't want to have about it. Why do I have to even talk about it?
Well, that conversation's coming out during Sagittarius season, and by the time we get to this Capricorn energy, it's like if your relationship goal is having a wedding, then this...
We got to plan how to get there.
Exactly. We got to plan how to get there. Think about your relationship goals. What are your relationship goals? What do you want from partnership? What do you want from your partner? What does your partner want? What does your partner want from you, from relationship? Like, where are you in accordance together, climbing to where you want to be? What goals do you share with those that you are in partnership with, whether it's the lover, the friend, or the business partner?
And maybe, it is a square, so that might mean that they're not all in alignment, and uncovering that can be uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean it has to disintegrate. It's just like we don't have to plan everything together. I have plans that maybe you're not a part of, and maybe that's the discomfort, knowing that we're not going to align. I want to go to Alaska. Well, I'm going to go with my friend. I'm not going to go with the person I'm dating, or I'm going to go with my cousin or something, not the person that I'm dating.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if you're in a partnership like that, then maybe you can agree. Like, look, we want to be together, but we don't see eye to eye in certain areas here, but that's okay. Like, we can make the relationship work by me saying, go to Alaska, have a great time.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what you do. I just don't want to go there, so go have fun.
Exactly.
I'm already spied on Saturday, and I feel like this is just like a healing day for like this type of conversation to happen.
Before we get to Saturday, I just want to mention that the last time that Venus was in Capricorn was November 5th of 2021 to March 5th of 2022. So Venus was retrograde in Capricorn. That's why it was in Capricorn for November, December, January, February, 4 months. 4 months in Capricorn. This year it's not even 4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it's a much quicker trip. So think back to what was going on in your relationships November 5, 2021 to March 5, 2022, and think, have I made progress? Have I progressed?
So.
Am I further along with my partner in our relationship, whatever that relationship may be, and what are the next steps that we want to take to move forward to that next ledge? And also for those, again, if you have key astrological points or planets in Aries or Libra, there could be challenges during this period with relationships. Yay. So, Saturday, December 10th, yes, healing energy here. We got a water connection. We got the moon in the cardinal water sign symbolized by the crab, Cancer, and ruled by the moon. So the moon's in a position of power here, aligning with Neptune, the god of fresh water and the sea, the planet of illusion, deception, compassion, and intuition in Pisces, which Neptune also rules. So we have the moon in the sign that it rules, Cancer, Neptune in the sign that it rules, Pisces, connecting together, water connection. It's about having compassion. How can I have compassion for my partner, for my friends, whoever I hold dear in my emotions that I have feelings for? How can I be more compassionate and nurturing to those who I have feelings for? How can I be more compassionate and nurturing and caring and kind to myself?
I think it's so perfect touching on yesterday. Maybe there was some discomfort yesterday, but the accepting things as they are and being okay with that. And like you said, giving permission to the person to do the traveling without them. Like, oh, that makes me feel sad that we can't do everything together, but that's okay. I want them to be happy, and I also want to be happy. I don't want to be in Alaska and they want to go do something. Like, we should both have what we want, and that's fine.
Yes.
And that's just the acceptance and compassion for our differences.
Yes, exactly. You want to go to Alaska, that makes you happy. That makes me happy too, that you're going and you're going to enjoy yourself. Please do that. Feel free.
And then especially in this Sagittarius season, it's like celebrating that we want everyone to do what they love and go do the things.
Yes.
Even if that doesn't include us, that's okay.
Exactly. That's it. Like, be free. Go to Alaska. Enjoy yourself. I'm happy because you're happy. Yes. And then Sunday, December 11th, continuing on that frequency as the moon moves on through Cancer, it aligns with the other planetary ruler of Pisces, which we talked about on Monday, Jupiter. So, greater expansion of compassion, of nurturing, of caring. How can I open my emotions up and really be that person for those that I feel emotions for that is supporting them? How can I be supportive to those that I care for? How can I be more kind to those that I feel feelings for?
I mean, even just going back to the very top of the episode, just my attraction to these people is like just accepting them for who they are and being happy that they exist. Like,
yes,
dampening their being. They're not going to be the same if I try to put them into the box that I like fantasize about. It's like you're going to be crushing their spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not even going to like what they are. Just letting everyone be themselves and accept them for who they are.
Yes, that's it.
And even accepting ourselves for who we are.
Well, that's part of it, you know? I think it starts with that difficult honesty in the beginning of the week, being honest with ourselves. If we're honest with ourselves and then we're honest with those that we're close to, it may be difficult, but then once you do, then it's easier to accept one another.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, well, now I know that you're this way, and I don't have to get mad at you for
just being yourself.
For being yourself, exactly. I know you're not trying to, like, fuck with me. There's no malicious intent behind you being you. And at least, like, we know who each other are now.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the week, we are learning more about each other's values and what we really want, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to, like assimilate that or, like, really take it in over this weekend.
It's like the overarching question of the week is, can I be honest? And can I be compassionate when I find the truth?
Yeah. That's the hard part. Both of those are really hard, actually.
Yes, exactly. It's hard to be honest, and then it's hard to be compassionate once you realize the truth.
Yeah. And when it's like, it's not that you're lying either. It's like the truth is just sometimes uncomfortable. If you have to express something that you don't want to express, it's not that you're lying about something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you're scared for someone to know something that's on your mind.
Yep.
How you're feeling about a certain thing.
Exactly. Well, and the truth's coming out this week during that full moon with Mars. It's coming out, slapping people across the face.
Well, I hope everyone has a very smooth week, and at least if you don't, appreciate. Sometimes it's like the calm. This is like the calm after the storm. This weekend is a gift after you go through some turbulence.
Mm-hmm.
So just knowing that there is some peace ahead.
Yes.
I think the most transformational, like, almost like psychedelic experiences where you have something so horrible happen or such a bad argument or fight where you're like, oh, everything's falling apart, and then afterwards you're like, oh, I see.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see things differently. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay for everything to fall apart.
Yes. Absolutely. You gotta sometimes break a nose twice in order to reset it.
Oh, that's terrible. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, very Hollywood of you.
Is that Hollywood?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Cool.
You gotta put it back. You gotta put it back all perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Scott.
You're welcome, Ingrid. So great to see you. See you next week.
I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to The Weekly Transit. Follow us on Instagram for daily updates about the planetary alignments and how to work with the energy. If this podcast is helping you navigate life more gracefully, please subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and share with your friends. If you're ready to go deeper, book a personal reading with Scott or sign up for his new moon, full moon class at theweeklytransit.com.
The Weekly Transit. transit.